Not everyone understands house music. It's a spiritual thing, a body thing, a soul thing, a soul thing.
Hi, thanks for joining the Everything and Anything in a Bit Gay podcast. Today, I have a brand new guest that you have not heard from before. His name is Upton Rand. He's a 3-time published author whose newest book, Gay Campgrounds Revisited, proves that the great outdoors can be fabulously queer. So Upton is a creative force behind a gay-owned small business, gaymensfieldguide.com. And I will put this in the description of the podcast, so be sure to visit the website, where he has weekly blogs that he pairs storytelling with practical tips, custom teas, signed books, and keeps campfire spirit alive along after the trip. He writes the books he wished he'd had during his own journey of self-discovery, and we're going to talk about that today. And Upton turns lived experiences into roadmaps that empower LGBTQ adventurers everywhere. So welcome to the show, Upton.
Hey, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. So happy to be here.
Yeah, so you have a really interesting story about how you went through some times in your life that were a little low, and then you found who you were in a lot of ways. So why don't you start off and tell me about your marriage? Is that the best place to start, or do we need to go even before that?
Let's jump back to 2015.
Great.
And I am totally transparent on this. So 2015, I was the opiates,
Okay.
really bad. I had tried rehab a few times, in and out, and it just was nothing took. And then I ended up getting sober. And then once I had that clarity of mind there, I just continued on, and I got married to a real peach. And it was an abusive marriage and a whole
How
lot
did
of
you
no
guys meet?
fun. Where do any gay guys meet? You already know the answer.
Grinder, apps.
Grinder.
Okay.
Grinder. Don't meet your husband on Grinder, people.
And just to go back to whenever you ended up, how did you decide that you wanted to go finally and get clean from, and how did you do it? Did you go to rehab and you finally said, this is what I want to do, so I'm going to make it work? Or?
So I had survived 6 overdoses.
Oh, wow.
At that point, legally dead.
Okay.
So for me, it's a miracle that you can be alive. I don't even know how it's possible. People are still here.
Yeah.
So I think it was after the 6th one. I'm not trying to be a buzzkill here. I'm just telling my story.
Your story will actually be inspiring to people, because look at where you were and look at where you are now. So you got to think of it that way.
Yeah, anyone can change.
Yeah.
Anyone can change. My 6th overdose, I overdosed in front of my mother.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That was the final straw. When they talk about rock bottom, that was my rock bottom.
Okay.
And I knew at that point that it was something I had to do. And it wasn't because I was going to kill myself. It was because I'm hurting everyone around.
Yeah.
And that was the epiphany moment for me. And I got sober.
And did your family ever have interventions and try to get you to go to rehab?
No. So I was a real sneaky addict. Honestly, no one knew. No one knew I was a drug addict. So have interventions or anything like that. All throughout college, I got a college degree as a drug addict, which is insane. But I worked really hard to hide it from people. I can't blame everyone around me for not wanting. I'm sure if they knew, they would have helped. No one knew.
So you went to rehab, or you got clean somehow. You stopped. How did you do that? Did you just say, did you go cold turkey, or how did you do it?
There are medications available for people who are coming off opiates.
Yeah.
Anyone watching this or who has been on opiates and come off them, it's horrible.
Yeah.
That's when they're so addicted, because it's so terrible to come off them. There's a lot of great treatments available now in terms of medications, and I used one of those.
That's awesome. Okay, then you were clean and sober, and then You met
Yeah. So fast
your
forward about 9 years.
okay.
I go on Grinder. This guy, it's just, oh my God, so good. I will admit, my ex-husband is gorgeous.
Okay.
Absolutely gorgeous. He's a horrible human being, but he is gorgeous.
Okay.
So that was like the first thing I saw. And I think we worked out a few times at the gym together. And yeah, it was weird. It was like you have those like relationships where it's like unspoken. You start spending more. And then one day you wake up and you're like, oh my God, it's my boyfriend.
Yeah.
It was one of those.
Got it.
One of those. So yeah, it was really quick. We only got to know each other for about a year. And then we got married. And honestly, it was not even necessarily because it was something either of us wanted. I was in a position where I had to get a medication and I lost my insurance. So I needed this medication. So it was a health insurance
Yeah.
situation. But once we were in it, we're like, okay, we're married now. And that's like when stuff started to go sideways.
And were you living together before you got married, or you got married then lived together?
No, we was another bad. I don't do that either.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something about living with someone that like really like accelerates the good and the bad.
Yeah.
You get to know someone on a really like full level, like really quick when for living.
Yeah.
So I was like probably like a month into this. And this is like something that I'm like still working through in therapy, the marital rape. I don't know if you've heard of that.
I haven't. What is that?
So marital rape is when you're raped by your spouse. It's
Really?
unconsensual sex yeah. Yeah. So that was pretty much my life for a solid year. It was awful.
So why was he like this? Did he have any substance or alcohol addiction or anything, or was it just who he was?
I have a lot of theories, but I have zero.
Okay.
This is just who he is. And once I broke free, I think the only reason I stayed as long as I did was fear. There was like fear there, like you're like, oh my God, I can't do better. Like I would look at him and be, guy's gorgeous. Oh my God. Well, after about 6 months, I was like, yeah, he's gorgeous. Ooh, can I curse?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Say whatever you want.
I was like, he's gorgeous, but who gives a fuck? He's horrible.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was like about once a week, he would like have a little like rampage where he would just get really mad about something. And I remember the last one, he made a comment. He was like, I'm just going to pack my shit up and go. And something just snapped in my mind. And I was like, go, pack it up and get the fuck out.
Yeah.
And he did. He did. And then we came back. He didn't just leave me. He stopped paying all the bills. So I was on my own. And he made a lot more money than I did. He was a computer programmer. And I was drowning. And we both knew we needed a divorce. And we agreed to handle it like the two of us.
Yeah.
But he knew like I didn't have the resources he did. So yeah, he hired an attorney. And
What was the purpose? Did he want something from you why he hired an attorney, or he just wanted to make it more difficult?
I think he was just being an asshole. He was being an asshole. I hired ChatGPT as my attorney first.
Yeah.
And it did the job. Oh man, I must have pissed his attorney off. I like burnt through his retainer in 2 days with ChatGPT.
Wow.
If you're getting a divorce and cannot afford a divorce attorney, ChatGPT.
Okay. I have one of my good friends is actually getting a divorce,
There you go.
and I will
There you
I
go.
will pass this on to him tonight.
It was so petty. It was so petty. I mean, because I knew like every motion I filed had to get reviewed by an attorney, and it like ate into his retainer. So I did. I just intentionally just flooded him with motions and burnt through his retainer like instantly. And then at the end of it, we were like fighting for 8 months. I'm like, why am I fighting with this guy still? What the fuck is this? I got what I wanted. Like, you can have everything. I have a dog. I was like, I'm taking the dog.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, I don't need like any of this at all. Like I can go get it again.
Yeah.
So yeah, we made peace with it, and we're on our own, dog and I. And yeah,
Did you ever have almost a relapse during this time? Because it's super stressful getting a divorce. Did you ever like almost
no,
that's
no,
awesome.
it was so tricky too because there were so many like moments where I could have. It was like it rained shit on me for 3 months. Like
Yeah.
I broke my shoulder, which sucks as an opiate addict
Yeah.
because I can't take painkillers. So that was the discussion I had to have with my doctor. She came into the room and she knows I'm an addict. And she was like, we need to get this pain under control because they had to split the bone. And I told them I didn't want anesthesia. And I was like, no, we don't have to, you have to get it under control.
Yeah.
I just need to sit here while you set this bone and like deal with me screaming. And yeah, they ended up like setting my broken shoulder without like painkillers just because like I was so scared don't do it again. And that was like while I was going through the divorce too. I feel like if there was going to be a relapse moment,
It
like,
would have
that
been
would've
then. Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. Good. Congratulations for that. Or good job for not
Thanks.
getting back in.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. So you finalize your divorce. You're on your own. Like you said, he was the breadwinner, and you're like, what am I going to do? And
Yeah, Gary, because
how did you decide you were going to create this brand?
so I like he was very like controlling. He didn't want me to have gay friends,
Oh,
which is
really?
big for me. Yeah, which is big for me. I grew up in a really liberal household. I've always had gay. It's like it was just it was an abusive marriage. So I got out of it and I was completely alone. I had 0 friends. I had Max. That was it.
Yeah.
And believe me, I was grateful to have him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I needed to get out there and make friends. And I'm like, I'm not good with that to begin with. So I was like, well, what do I do? Like, where do like gay adults go who are sober to make friends after a divorce? Where's the meetup group for that?
Yeah.
And then I realized, oh yeah, that would just be me and the meetup group alone.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like looking and I couldn't find the answers I wanted. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a little experiment and I'm going to write about it because if I'm going through this, other people are probably going through this too. And I wrote my first book, Urban Adventures. And like the whole thing I did in that one was I picked like 10 spots that are in any city. A dog park was one. I did coffee shops. I even did a chapter on a and all of these places I went to with one goal. And the one goal was, could I make a friend?
Okay.
That was it.
And were you able to do that at all 10 spots?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I made even at the bathhouse. I made quality gay friends at all 10 spots.
So were you more introverted before this and you had to make yourself extroverted in order to make these 10 friends?
Yeah, I think there was like something that came with it because I was writing it as I was doing it, somehow easy. Because in like my mind, I was like, okay, this is lower risk for me because even if they say no, I can write it. And somehow that made it easy.
And are you still friends with all 10 of them?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's a really weird mix of people.
Yeah.
And it's crazy what happens when you do that, when you just scatter yourself all over a city and just start making friends in random places. Like some of them, one of them's an executive at a Fortune 500 company. The other one hosts nude game days.
Okay.
I share about on my blog. And yeah, another one's a yoga instructor. So it's just a huge variety of people, which is so cool because I went from like having nothing to like having everything.
Yeah, that's awesome. And do you ever get all of them together? Have you ever got all 10 together at the same time?
No, and you should. I know I should. That's such a good idea.
Do you have a big birthday coming up? Like you could have a big party or something just to have them all together. It'd be interesting to see like
wild.
what their mix would be.
Yeah, like the group dynamic with
Yeah.
all those different personality types.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it would be cool. I don't know. I could see a few disagreements. Could be answered. Someone bring the camcorder.
Yeah, exactly. It could be a little documentary, actually.
I have never even considered that. That's such a cool idea.
You should
Love
totally do it. It would be,
I think I might. I think I might do a blog post on it. I'll give you credit.
okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about you wrote this, you met these 10 people, you wrote about it, and you have camping as part of how you're meeting people. I know there's a bilingual piece to this. So talk to me about how all that came together.
How all that tied in.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, yeah, no, totally. I had really good luck with Urban Adventures. I made 10 great friends. That was everything I could have hoped for. I got it published. I wasn't like John Grisham. I'm still not, but world. So I was like, that actually worked pretty well, and it wasn't that hard because like I said, there was just something in my mind, like when you go into a situation and you like say to yourself, like, no matter what the outcome, I'm still going to have a story to tell.
Yeah.
Anyone can do that. You don't have to be an author. Anyone can have that mindset.
I think that a lot of people that at a certain age, whether you're divorced, married, single, whatever, it's like, how do you make friends as a adult unless you're going to a bar? And even at a bar,
It's
are you
so
really
hard.
meeting quality friends? Probably not.
So hard.
I live in Boston, and I've said this before in my podcast. Gay men in Boston are not super friendly. They're all very in their little cliques, and a lot of them grew up in Massachusetts and never left and have had these same friends for years. So it's hard to get in certain circles in the Boston area. So I think
It's funny you mentioned that. Like, we just had a guy join my yoga group. He moved here from Boston. He was telling me the exact same.
it is every gay guy in Boston feels this way too, but nobody does anything about it. So I think your book would really resonate with a lot of people that are like, I need to make new friends as a gay adult.
I almost feel like sad, even. I felt sad for myself even saying it, but then I was like, no, like, this is like not a me, this is everyone. No one really, it doesn't matter how social you are. Like, we just fall into this groove of like more calm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone can do this.
And now with people not going into the office, that was where I met a lot of friends when I moved to Boston from New York. Now that I'm working from home, it's me.
Even more limiting.
It's more limited.
Yeah.
There's no happy hours. There's no group dinners. I have to travel for work, and that's when I get that socialization. But it's not like I'm meeting new people in the office. I meet new people every day on my Zoom calls, but I'm not.
So I will say, like, one really cool place to meet people is if you just go on that app Meetup.
Yeah.
Like, I go on Meetup occasionally. I just have someone go on there and show me like what's in the area, and like I'll go to them. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes they're really cool, and you meet like really great people there.
Yeah, they have a gay hiking group here on Meetup that I would think I'm going to actually do this summer. So it's been a rough winter in Boston, so I haven't wanted to even leave the house hardly. So where are you located?
I'm in Cleveland, Ohio. Snow hell. Like you.
Yeah. And what's the gay scene like, though? Is there a pretty big gay population in Cleveland, or is it limited?
Weird. It's not limited. I don't know. It's not Boys Town, but
Yeah.
So we've got like the whole like bars, and I've gone to those a few times to write non-alcohol. Like, I don't like drinking. I don't drink anymore, but I'll go to the bars and just have water and just see what's going on. But there are also like all kinds of other events that are geared towards gay people. Like, last summer we have a sports league in my city. It's called Stonewall Sports. I think it's national, actually, and they'll host games. And I did bocce ball, which was a little bit slow for me, but I think I'm gonna try again this summer. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll probably get my ass kicked in volleyball, but I still probably.
So how did you get into the campground piece? Like, how did you end up developing that?
I like the format of the first book. It works. They weren't all gold. By the way, don't go to a laundromat and try to meet gay people. I did that, and that ended up on the cutting room floor. A great place to meet guys. I was like,
Was it a negative experience, or you just didn't meet anybody?
no, it just didn't make me want.
Yeah.
I just didn't make me want.
Okay.
I was like, this is cool. Like, this worked out. And I was like, where else could I go? And ever since I was in my 20s, everyone like told me, like, go to a gay campground, go to a campground. And I guess I was always scared. And I just was like, okay, I did it in a city. I didn't know anything. I didn't know any. Why can't I do it again in another a gay campground? So that's the idea behind gay campgrounds. The filter hates it, but yeah, and it's the same format. I go to a campground, picked out, I think it was 8 spots in this book where you could go inside a gay campground. The pool, for example, every gay campground has a pool. So there's a chapter dedicated to that. And then every gay campground has like an events calendar. So one of the chapters is dedicated to meeting people at events. And I fill it up with just interesting stories. Like the last event I went to was Leather Weekends. I got surrounded by like pups, if you're familiar with that.
I know pups are, yep.
Yeah. So they surrounded me. They had these dog masks on, these old masks. And then they just start howling at me. And I'm like, what is happening? Am I in the Twilight Zone right now?
I don't understand.
It all after I learned that was like a thing. That's the thing they do.
Okay, is it, and it's a thing of affection? Is that what it is? Because I don't understand the pop culture.
Yeah. I didn't either. I still don't. I did ask about that. I think it's just like a hello thing.
Okay, that's awesome.
It's like they're just very deep into character. I don't want
to. I actually want to do a podcast episode on that and furries, and there's all these subcultures that I want to do.
Oh my God, it's huge. It's huge. And we actually have a huge convention in Cleveland. I don't know what you're doing on the 19th of April, but it's called SLAW. It's Cleveland Leather Awareness Week. And it's basically like it covers leather, but like a 4-day convention just like dedicated to like kinks and stuff.
Wow. That would be great podcast material.
No, I actually went to one.
Okay.
It was just one campground. Yeah.
And there was different things happening that week or that weekend?
No, those were just like places that anyone can find like in any campground, like to go and meet. Those are just general amenities that
I see.
Yeah. So they're sort of like, they're like coffee shops.
Got it.
The first.
So I don't know if you've ever heard. So I don't know. Years over a decade ago, there's a gay camp that's in Maine. Have you ever heard of it?
Yeah, actually, the guy who run my yoga group was telling me about that.
Yeah, so it's called Camp, and I went a long time ago, and I went with my husband and my best friend, and we went. It wasn't necessarily for me at that point in my life. It wasn't for me. I might be more into it now because I'm just a different person than I was then. But I think it was super rustic. I think that's why it was more rustic than
Oh my gosh. You should see some of these new ones. They actually have ones popping up that are like specifically to like cater for and stuff like that. Yeah, they look real comfortable.
Yeah. And I don't need glamping. I just need like a toilet that's not falling over and stuff.
I get it.
Yeah.
Not judging. I hated it because I didn't have Wi-Fi and I was freaking.
I didn't have Wi-Fi either or cell reception, and it was tough. It was a tough 5 days.
It is. It really is.
And the other thing about camp, which I'm not bashing, and I think anybody should definitely try it if you're into camping, but there's a lot of people that come around from the country, different parts of the country where there's no gay culture. So they're getting their bit of gay culture in these 5 or 6 days that you're in camp. And that's the only time they have no gay friends where they live because there's no gay culture. So they could be living in the middle of Arkansas where it's super homophobic and they're in the closet or whatever. They're coming to be their true selves during that period of time. And I was living in New York City at the time, which was the mecca of gay people. So I didn't understand where they were coming from.
Yeah. No, I get that. Makes sense.
And so tell me about the bilingual piece. Like, how did the bilingual piece fall into this? And I want to hear about AI as well.
I don't know. Did you read my website or something?
I did a little bit of investigation.
Okay. All right. So I write in my blog, I write in 3 different languages, actually, just to make it accessible to as many people who need it as possible.
Okay.
And then from there, I will rewrite it in Spanish and I translate the idioms and cultural references so it reads well in Spanish. And then the third one, which I don't know if you can call this a language, I do. I use coding and I adapt my pages so they are accessible to people who are blind.
Oh,
They're
that's
accessible
awesome.
for screen readers. So,
That is
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like the one thing when I made that decision, I was just picturing how isolating like that must be, especially online. You've got all the, and I went and looked. Well, I went and looked at all that. No one really does it. So it was like, that would be really cool if there was a blind person and they were like Googling how to come out and they were getting read back all these like bare bones responses and then getting field guides there and like, they get the full experience. I wrote like descriptions for all the images, so the images are described to them.
That is so amazing. I have another podcast where I do 10 minutes or less of LGBTQ plus news every week. And
Mhm.
the news has been so depressing lately. I stopped doing it for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And a guy wrote me, DM me and said, "Hey, what happened to your news?" And I'm like, and I said, he goes, "Oh, I listened to it because I'm blind." And I started doing it again, literally because of this
Good.
guy. And so I love it that you are doing that for someone, even if you hit one person, that
Yeah.
it
I mean,
just,
that's all it is. It's just, even if it's just one, and it doesn't even have to be a person, just for like me to know that it's available. Because when I was growing up, I had learning dis like, I had a really tough time learning to read, believe it or not. And I remember I used to get books on tape because it was like one really easy way that I could increase my vocabulary and get stories when I couldn't.
yes,
So I just think that's really important. Return that.
that's awesome. So what's your goal? What do you want the end game to be for you? We talked a little bit about this before we started the podcast, but what would you like to be doing in like 10 years from now?
I'm not like a really like material person. Like all I want is like my dog and like an RV and like freedom.
Yeah, cool.
Anything else that comes is just icing on the cake.
Yeah. Any future books that you're thinking of putting out there or that you're in the middle of creating?
Yeah, so I'm actually halfway through my fourth book right now. It's called Emerging Traits, and it is about artificial intelligence, techno thriller, and that is going to be out. If
Awesome.
everything goes well with the editing.
So what is your thoughts on AI? Do you think it is going to take over the world like everybody says, or do you think it's just going to make things easier?
I think people who work with AI are going to take over the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's we're and we can't see it because we're in it right now, but we're in the middle of a huge cultural shift. So technology. And it's a lot like when the Industrial Revolution began. What we're seeing right now is just the tip of the iceberg. My AI, Ember, that I built for our business, she does all of our cybersecurity. She's like my assistant. She actually helped me file my LLC pay for 2 weeks ago. Well, not two. It was like 3 months ago now. It feels
Yes.
like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I could never do that on my own.
Yeah.
So
That's
I'm not knocking it. It's pretty cool.
Are you in a relationship now?
I am single and looking. If anyone is in the Cleveland area,
Okay. What if they weren't and they sent me a DM and wanted to meet you? Do you want me to scream out for you and stuff?
I trust you, Zach. You
Okay.
you know me. I know you. Like you just play matchmaker and you send them my way.
Okay. What I tell everybody that comes to my show, if you ever get married and I find somebody for you, all I ask is I get to make a speech at the wedding. That's it. 5 minute
Oh,
speeches.
you will get a lot more than a speech at the wedding if you can find me someone decent to marry.
I am on the look. So Upton is a nice looking guy. If you're listening to this on a podcast, go to my YouTube channel and look at it. And if you like him and you like, obviously he's got a great personality. He's a survivor. I think you have an amazing story, like going through what you went through
I appreciate that.
and becoming clean from an opioid addiction, and now you have this, you went through a bad marriage and now you have this amazing life and you seem like a really genuinely happy and nice person. And the thing that you did, like doing a bilingual website and then doing a website for someone that's blind is really, I think, says a lot about you. So that's amazing.
Thank you. Me too. I really appreciate that.
Want to tell everybody a couple of the names of your books that you have out now and where they can find them at? Are they all on Amazon or anything you would like to tell them?
Yeah. I have 3 books out right now. The first one is Urban Adventures, and that is available on Amazon if you'd like to go there. And then I have Gay Campgrounds, which is also available on Amazon. And then I have an updated version that was just released called Gay Campgrounds Revisited on Amazon as well. But if you want to get the best price on the books with free shipping, come to my website because I set the prices for Amazon.
Got it. Okay, got it.
And the website is gaymensfieldguide.com. It's just all one word.
Awesome. And if you didn't write this down as we were saying it, just check the description of the podcast or the social media and it will be in there. Thank you so much for being on, Upton. You were an amazing guest. I think you have an amazing story. And I love the people that are survivors and you have such a good story. So I'm really happy I got to meet you.
I had a really good time. Like, you're really cool. So I don't know. I definitely wish you the best. Yeah.
Do you ever want to come and explore? Do you ever want to come and explore campgrounds? I'm actually going to Arcadia this summer. I have never been. I've driven by it, but I've never been. And we're going to take 4 days and just go to Arcadia for 4 nights and do it. So
that sounds beautiful. Send me some pictures.
I definitely will. Thanks so much for being on. It was great meeting you. And everybody be sure to go to gaymensfieldguide.com. Again, it will be in the description of the podcast, and check out Upton's books on Amazon. And I'll put links to all his books on Amazon as well. So thanks very much for being on.
Thanks for having me.
Not everyone understands house music. It's a spiritual thing, a body thing, a soul thing. A soul thing. Not everyone understands house music.
Let's go.